It's 6 a.m. You stumble into the shower half asleep, turn the handle, and wait for the warm water that never comes. Just cold. Ice cold. You check the water heater in the utility closet, and there it is, a small puddle spreading across the floor, and a soft hissing sound that no home appliance should ever make. You Google water heater replacement cost, with wet hair and a towel still wrapped around you, and the number that pops up makes your stomach drop. $1,800, $2,200, sometimes more, depending on the unit and the labor. And in that exact moment, you remember something. 3 years ago, when you bought this house, someone offered you a $150 warranty on the water heater, and you said no because $150 felt like a waste of money for something that was working just fine. Here's the thing nobody tells you about warranties, insurance, and every other boring protection plan you've ever been offered. The math isn't about whether you'll need it. The math is about what happens if you do. My name is Davis. If you've ever skipped a small protection because it felt like an unnecessary expense, hit subscribe. Because today we're breaking down the real ROI math behind a $150 water heater warranty and why that boring little purchase can quietly be worth more than most of your investments. Let's start with the real problem, because it's not what people assume. Most people evaluate warranties the same way they evaluate investments. They ask, what's the average return? And by that logic, warranties often look like a bad deal. Most years, nothing breaks. You pay $150, you get nothing back, and it feels like money down the drain. But here's what most people don't realize. Warranties were never designed to be investments. They're designed to be protection. And protection isn't about the average outcome. It's about the worst outcome. This is the exact same math that makes insurance work, even though most people who buy insurance never file a major claim. You don't buy fire insurance because you expect your house to burn down. You buy it because if it does, the cost of not having it could be life-altering. A water heater warranty works the same way, just on a much smaller, much more common scale. Let's do the actual math because this is where it gets real. A basic home warranty covering your water heater typically costs somewhere around $150 to $600 a year, depending on coverage. Let's use $150 as our number. A full water heater replacement, including the unit and labor, often runs between $1,500 and $2,500. So here's the simple comparison. You're paying $150 for a shot at avoiding a $2,500 expense. That's not a guaranteed return like a stock or a bond. It's what's called an asymmetric bet, small guaranteed cost, rare but large guaranteed benefit if the bad thing happens. And here's the part that really matters. Water heaters typically last 8 to 12 years, which means over a homeowner's lifetime, at some point, most people will face this exact bill. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Here's why the expected value argument that people use to dismiss warranties actually misses the real point. If you calculate the pure average, sure, most years you pay $150 and get nothing back. But protection products were never meant to be evaluated on average outcomes. They're meant to be evaluated on catastrophic outcomes. The real question isn't, will I probably need this? The real question is, if the bad thing happens, can I comfortably absorb the cost without financial stress? For a lot of people, a sudden $2,000 to $2,500 expense isn't just annoying. It's the kind of bill that goes straight onto a credit card at 20% plus interest, turning a one-time repair into months of debt payments. Let me give you two homeowners. Mark and Diane bought similar houses around the same time. Mark skips the water heater warranty because it feels like an unnecessary expense on top of an already expensive move. Diane pays the $150 a year without much thought, mostly because it felt like a small, forgettable cost. 4 years later, both of their water heaters fail within the same month. Just an unlucky coincidence of matching install dates. Diane makes one phone call. Her warranty covers the replacement, she pays a small service fee, and within a day she has hot water again. Mark gets 3 quotes, none of them pleasant, and ends up putting $2,100 on a credit card because he doesn't have that much sitting in savings. A year later, Diane has paid a total of $600 in warranty premiums over 4 years. Mark has paid $2,100 for the repair, plus roughly $380 in credit card interest because he could only afford minimum payments for a few months. Same houses, same failure, completely different financial outcome because one small, boring decision changed everything. So how do you actually evaluate whether a protection like this is worth it? Here's the framework. Ask yourself one simple gut check question. Worst case cost. Entirety divided by what I'd pay to protect against it. If the worst case cost is many times higher than the protection cost, and the worst case would genuinely hurt you financially, it's usually worth serious consideration. In our example, $2,500 divided by $150 is about 16 times. That's a large gap between the pain of the worst case and the cost of avoiding it. Second, check what you're actually being covered for before you buy anything. Not all warranties are created equal. Some cover parts, but not labor. Some have coverage caps far below actual replacement costs. Some exclude pre-existing wear and tear, which conveniently is exactly what causes most water heater failures. Read the fine print, or better yet, call and ask directly, if my water heater fails from normal wear, what exactly would I pay out of pocket? If they can't give you a clear answer, that tells you something too. Third, and this is the part people miss, apply this same framework beyond just water heaters. HVAC systems, roofs, major appliances, anything with a large, predictable repair cost and a limited lifespan deserves the same worst case divided by cost gut check. You're not trying to protect against every possible thing. You're trying to identify the specific risks where the downside would actually hurt. Here's the identity shift underneath all of this. Building wealth and protecting wealth are two completely different skills, and most people only train one of them. We talk a lot about growing money, investing, compounding, building income, but almost nobody talks about the quiet skill of preventing a single bad month from undoing years of progress. A great investment strategy can be completely undone by one unexpected $2,500 bill, hitting you with zero protection and zero cushion. Protection isn't exciting. It doesn't compound in a chart that goes up and to the right. But it's often the thing standing between annoying expense and financial setback that takes a year to recover from. So here's your action step. Look up your home's major systems, water heater, HVAC, roof, and check their age and expected lifespan. If any of them are getting close to the end of their expected life, and you don't have an emergency fund that could comfortably absorb a $2,000 to $2,500 surprise, it might be worth pricing out a warranty or protection plan this week, not because you're guaranteed to need it, because if you do, you'll be really glad you already made the boring decision instead of the panicked one. If this changed how you think about warranties, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments. Have you ever been hit with a surprise repair bill you wish you'd been protected against?